Welcome to Business Influencers. Hope everyone's having a great week. And thank God we've had tremendous results we've seen each and every week here with the show. And it's because of you, the listeners, each and every week referring the show for others to listen. We are committed here to deliver quality content from subject matter experts that share their words of wisdom and insights to help move your business and personal success to the next level. We highly encourage you to check us out again on TALRadio.org. Also on Apple at Business Influencers, including Spotify and our YouTube channel at the TALRadio English section. So today we're going to be talking about intentional relationship-based leadership. And I love this. As people have known over the year that we've had the show running, we love leadership topics, and especially when we're talking about from intention, because intention really sets the bar to move things forward. And so we're going to be looking at how your relationship as the safe harbor is the key to leading a successful career or business. As leadership starts with self-leadership, the next level of leadership is inside your home to then become an empowered business leader. And you're going to learn today how to influence your environment by leading from the heart and building healthy relationships in an empowered way instead of just managing employees and assignments. And our subject matter expert today is Arno Koch. He is the father of a 3.5-year-old son and 11-month-old daughter, husband to a wonderful wife and his best friend, dog dad of a goofy Rhodesian Ridgeback, and lives in Malibu, California. Following an international corporate career as an engineer in Germany, project manager in Switzerland, and in corporate development in California, Arno became a professional business coach in 2018. Coincidentally, his first business clients were struggling in their relationships that began to thrive again. And over the course of his coaching programs, with the added benefit of helping clients overcome bulimia, phobias, and PTSD. Recognizing this pattern and considering his own transformation, Arno began to focus on elevating and healing relationships as he remained passionate about it ever since. And you're going to learn a little later about how he offers one-on-one coaching and group coaching for individuals, as well as relationship-based corporate trainings. And without further ado, we welcome Arno Koch to the show. Hi, Arno.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for our talk today.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to talking about, intentional-based leadership here and, why it's so important. So let's talk about, like, when you talked about leadership, it starts in the home, and it's got to start with an intention to wherever you are and where you desire to go. Can you talk about the importance, what intentional based leadership is and how that really starts in the home and how that can translate into everything that we do in our communities, workplaces, and so on?
Absolutely. For me, it has 3 steps, and it starts on the inside leadership of self. And I heard for a long, long time, a good leader is a good follower. And for me, that was absolutely counterintuitive. When I started in the workspace and in corporate, I thought a leader is the person who tells other people what to do, and those people follow. And that's what leadership is. And that completely shifted when someone told me, look, a good leader gives himself instructions and follows them. So if I can't follow instructions, that means I can't follow my own instructions. And if I don't follow my own instructions, there's no self-leadership. So following is essential to being a great leader. And then that transitions then to the next level, which is the home, right? So me and my wife, for example, if we were 2 bosses telling each other what to do, we would have a power struggle. If we were 2 leaders, we're a power couple, acknowledging the strengths of the other person and being okay and taking own ego out of the way when we allow the other person to lead us, and I would even say to submit sometimes when someone is in their area of expertise. And then when I have that done, when I have those 2 levels, then bringing that out into the business world is just the logical next step.
Wow, that's great. And what I picked up from you, as a leader that's progressing to be a true leader, you have to be the example, right? If we're not practicing what we preach and we're telling people this is how you do it, and then you're not doing it yourself, you're not really leading there. And then you're operating from expectations that are not being fulfilled, and then it just makes everything kind of break down in terms of communication. No, it's so true. Let's
100%.
talk a little bit about like what from what you said, it starts with self-leadership. What would be some of the things that people are hearing this, maybe perhaps for the first time? Maybe they've heard about it, but they just are unclear how to go about leading themselves to lead others. What would be the first thing that you would recommend?
Leading oneself means effectively communication with self. And to me, that means mastering my state of being. In any given moment, I'm in a state of being. You're in a state of being, happy, angry, frustrated, in love, joyful, all states of being. And those states of being, every state of being is comprised of 4 substates: the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual state. And so, for example, if I'm sad, for example, emotion comes up, the emotion of sadness. Now, that sadness leads to arranging my body in space in a different way. I start breathing shallow, my shoulders move forward, my chin goes down. Now, a video camera would capture that I am sad. And now that trickles down to my mental state, my focus, and my thoughts. So what am I thinking now? For example, if my partner or if a business partner angers me or makes me sad, I'd be like, okay, why does he make me sad? That made me sad. Why did he make me sad? Maybe he didn't know. Well, I told him in the past, so he should know. So if he knows, does he really know? Oh yeah, one time he even responded to me in that fashion and didn't do what makes me sad. So he understood that even. So as he understood it and put it into action, why is he still doing it? Well, the only reason can be that he's doing it on purpose. Why is that person doing it on purpose? Sometimes, even if we go through a situation 3 times, now we assume the other person is doing it on purpose. How do I deserve that person does it on purpose? And that's how that thought spiral then goes off. And that trickles down to the physical, to the spiritual state, changing our energy and our beliefs in the situation. Energy, low energy, and although energy sounds a little bit woo, when we get into a room and someone is not happy, we sense that, and this sense is just what I call energy. And religious beliefs are part of that, but it can also be local beliefs in the moment, like, okay, now I'm going to have a difficult time with that employee for the next hour or so. Now we are going to have a difficult conversation, or in the relationship, now we're going to fight for the next 3 hours. Or a global belief in a relationship, maybe this relationship is not meant to be, maybe I should consider breaking up. Or in a workspace, maybe that employee is not in the right space here.
Yeah.
So my state of being trickles down to that overall belief, and mastering my state of being, noticing I am frustrated in this moment. I need to first get a handle on my frustration before I seek that conversation. Or mental state, looking at, okay, what else could that mean? What else could that mean that person is doing? And that can be giving it a different context. Is there a context where I could appreciate that behavior? Like, for example, when my wife is mad at me, right? She can be very intense. In the past, I would have felt super offended,
Offended by it.
Super offended by it. And I'm like, if she was out there with our son, and our son would be in trouble and she would have to defend him, I would want her to show up in exactly that way. And I know that she would, and she wouldn't be calling me for help because she could show up for herself. I can appreciate that in that context, and I can't have her show up in that other context like that, but not in this one. So I need to appreciate it now as well. And now I look at the whole situation differently, or I give it a different meaning. Why is she so intense right now? Maybe she's not feeling heard. So if I make her feel heard, maybe that will help. And now I find new avenues that I can approach her. And the same holds true in the workspace. If I'm speaking with someone who's frustrated, finding out the deeper reason of what is that frustration really about. He's probably not just trying to offend me. There's probably something else going on.
Wow. That's great. And I love that. And when you talk about like self-leadership, as you build that into intentional based leadership to develop better relationships, what would you say, Arno, like consistency has got to be an important part of this. This is not something we do here and there. It's something we got to be mindful of every day. What would you recommend? Like, how can people become more mindful to do this every day? Are there certain things that people can do that where it kind of sets that as a foundation in our subconscious mind, or just consciously to do each and every day to be mindful of that?
100%. All learning is unconscious, right? All learning is unconscious. What I've learned consciously, I need to practice. And as I practice it, it becomes unconscious. And then it's not a tool or strategy that I'm doing. Then it just becomes me. This is just who I am. So the key is to put it into action. This is how my clients had massive transformations in their business and at home, because I had them practice those things that we just talked about with their partners at home. Finding people in your life, your spouse, your kids, people in the workplace that you interact on a daily basis, and use these things outside of conflict. Because when you do those things, then they prevent conflict as well, and they elevate the overall communication and, well, the overall state of being and the overall happiness. So the key is really putting it into action. So when I work with a client, for example, I don't throw the 4 substates on them and the tools and strategies for all of them. I go through them week by week. Let's focus on the physical state this week. Do those things. Tell me how they worked. Okay, that worked well. Now we do the emotional state. Practice those with everybody that's around you. And that is what really creates that long-lasting change, focusing really on one thing for an extended amount of time and putting it into practice.
Yeah, like you said, don't try to do everything at once. Do one thing at a time. Be consistent. Keep doing it. And it's like with anything, it's like a habit, right? You keep doing it, even though you may not like doing it, but you do it anyway because you know it serves you. That eventually it become an automatic pattern in time. So yeah.
No, and operating principle based and not emotional based.
Yeah.
And mastering your state of being helps you get a handle on your emotions and helps you operate principle based and helps you operate with more consistency.
I can see that. It can be like that. Instead of your emotions happening to you, they're happening for you. You could kind of change, it's not that if you have a primary emotion that says, okay, I'm upset, I'm disappointed, I'm angry. Okay, that's real. It's okay. But we're not reacting from that situation. We're taking a breath. All right, I can control this. I can't control that. So if I can't control that, why am I getting hung up on that? Let's focus on what I can, and I will respond from there. So that makes sense from the intentional versus reaction in this case. You're intending. How would this translate now, now into, a business? Like it can be anything, right? Small business, mid-sized business, corporation, whatever. People are people. How does this now relate when, we're doing this day in, day out in our own homes? How can this now show up regardless of title, but how you show up as a leader each and every day, in work, and how this relates to customers as well as your colleagues, peers, and so on?
Yeah. What we do in business is most of the time it's communication. We need to get tasks done, and we have people who get our tasks done, right? At some point, we have too many tasks to do. That's when we hire people to do those, and doing that with empathy and compassion, which means not just telling them what to do, but making clear that they are doing something that otherwise I would have to do, that they're taking something valuable that I would invest my time in if they were not there, and they're taking that off my plate, and I'm very grateful for that. And they see the purpose behind that. And I'm not making them do busy work because I can't think of anything better, but they're doing something valuable that I would have to do otherwise. And that's very important to me. So now I'm using empathy and compassion and build a relationship with that person and get their buy-in, because they know what it's about. Because I can delegate responsibility, but I can't delegate accountability. No matter what I do, I can't hold someone accountable for something that I am accountable. I can make them responsible for those things, but if push comes to shove, it's still on me. It's still my detriment if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that differentiation.
Wow, that's great. But yeah, so that I could definitely see where you're coming from there. So what would you say, like if I'm an organization, even if I'm a small business, a company in general, like where would, like, it starts with the self-leadership, but what would you recommend would be the first steps in create, to really stress this message across? Would it start with awareness and then kind of see if the buy-in, get people's buy-in to see the evidence and then taking it from there?
It's taking the responsibility, right? The accountability, and then looking into, in the end, I want to influence the other person's behavior. I want them to express a behavior that otherwise I would have to express. And ideally, I want them to make that a habit, right? So how do I create a habit in another person, as it's already so difficult to create a habit in myself? So the important thing is that they start doing something and continuously, but also knowing how difficult that is. We ask someone to do something and then they do it once and then they fall off of it, and then we get mad. It frustrates us, right? Now, do we express that towards that person? Do we not express that? But there's a certain amount of dissatisfaction if we told someone what to do and they agreed to it and they did it and then they stopped doing it. So having the patience of, and a metaphor that will resonate with people in business and people outside of business is a gardener that we had, and he left the garden gate open. Now we have chickens and we have a dog. And if a chicken runs out and gets run over by a car, that is my accountability. I have a chicken left. But can I make him pay for the chicken? I can fire him. I can do all those things. But I would still have to work with the next person on the same issue. So he's mowing the lawn, making lots of noise. The chickens are running around like crazy. and the garden gate is open. So now I ask him to close the gate. And I feel like now I'm bossing him around. Right? I'm standing there between him and the gate. I'm closer to the gate as he is, and I want to make him close the gate. And I have a feeling of, how will he understand that? Will he feel like I'm bossing him around? And I walked to him and I said, can you please close the gate? There's the chicken. I give him explanations. And he smiles at me and says, yes, okay, and puts his headphones on and continues mowing. So he understands, he agrees, but he doesn't do. So I tap on his shoulders again and say, sorry, would you be so kind and please do that right now? It's really important to me. Doing it in a compassionate way.
Yes.
Because knowing that it will be a disservice to him if I do it right now, then next time I will have to do it again. I will have to do it forever. So he needs to get into action. That's what ingrains it into the unconscious mind. Doing it kindly, with compassion. So he walks over there, close it. I thank him after, right? It's counterintuitive to a lot of people because this is self-explanatory. It's a damn responsibility to do it. No, I thank him anyway and show him appreciation. And the next week, the gate is open again. And I know that it takes time to build that habit.
Yeah.
So we go the same process again. Now he's done it twice. A week later, the gate is closed. I'm happy. Week later, the gate is closed. I'm happy. Week later, the gate is closed. I'm happy. Week later, the gate is open. First response, I'm frustrated. Or I'm like, well, actually, it's the first time he did it. He did it for 3 weeks. Now I'll do it for him. I'll cut him some slack. It's fine, right? Now I cut them some slack. I close it, which I didn't do, and why I close the gate. Next week it's open again. Now I'm getting mad. Now I think I'm doing it again. Now he thinks he doesn't. All those things all those mind reads, right? Reading his mind. What is he thinking about it? So no, week 4, the gate is open again. I go through the process again. I walk to him. I say, can you please close the gate? He closed the gate, and then it's done and the gate is closed from now on. And acknowledging that falling off of a habit is part of building the habit.
Yeah.
And being compassionate with the other person, also being compassionate with myself. I feel frustration, acknowledging that frustration, and translating that frustration into what can I do in an empowered way to improve the situation moving forward.
I agree. And that compassion, I guess, that it could take into consideration. We can never assume and speculate unless that information has been, given to us. But there could be a lot of reasons, right? That person could have ADD, ADHD. There could be, maybe he's going through a life-changing event and it's clouded his judgment and he's just kind of absent-minded for that time period. There could be a wide variety of different reasons what's happening. Not that it's intentional in that case. Like, I want to leave it open, let the chicken go out. It's just but again, not enabling the lack of action to do it again. That but bringing it up, and then getting obviously to a point somewhere down the road where you have to provide some constructive feedback. Either move on from the individual or fix the problem. So it's not being repeated over and over and over and over again.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
The key is that they then perform the action. Yeah. You can't say, I'm going to do it this time, next time you do it again. That just ingrains the not doing it.
Yeah.
They need to take the action.
If I don't do it, he'll do it. So what does it matter?
Yeah, and you feel good about yourself being generous and doing it for them and giving the instruction, but those words you're sending mixed signals in that moment. So the positivity you inject in the situation is expressing that compassion and explaining why it's important to you, and then being extraordinarily grateful, maybe overdoing the gratitude after to show that how much it was really worth to you. Yeah, but that person needs to perform the action. That person needs to send that email now. It's not like, okay, I'm going to send that email this time and I'll see you so you see how it works. No, you write that email, and if you're uncertain, send it to me first, and I'll tell you what to edit. He needs to do the doing. He needs to do the work, and then now this email is great. Now you can send it out to see me on it. That is where most learn, and it takes a little bit more time, but do that 2, 3, 4 times, and you'll know he can send those emails. It's fine.
Yeah,
and it takes the work off your plate.
Wow. That's powerful stuff, what you shared there. I love that, what you just shared. And so I think it's so important that when you can, be a leader that can take responsibility of that and do that on a daily basis. And when you're empowering, say, people that work for you or even work with you, or even if you work for them, you're empowering them to now adopt something similar. So as we keep doing it, it creates a better environment, a more intentional environment, like you said, all from those positive and constructive relationships that are being built, and people are communicating better, leading by example, and being compassionate, being empathetic, and being resourceful. I think that's great.
100%. Yeah. And then that trickles down to the company culture, because as a leader, what you do, if you want it or not, that's what everybody's looking at and subconsciously at least modeling. So when you start expressing more appreciation, when you start expressing more gratitude, then you'll find other people doing that too, and it elevates the whole company culture, and everybody feels more happy and more joyful as they're doing their daily work.
Oh yes, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, I mean, Arno, you have shared so much valuable information here. I love this topic, and I could talk. I could listen to you talk about more of this, and I love to elaborate on it because it is so important. Starting in the home, I would love to have people, because we're near the end of the show. I'd love to have people get to know you companies that are listening to this, leaders in whatever capacity that is, they have to get to know you. What would you, can you please share with the audience how they can best get in touch with you? What are you up to, and anything that you would like to provide them?
Yeah. So my website, imagine-evolution.com, is probably the best place to read about me, learn more about me. You'll find links to my relationship coaching. You'll find links to my corporate training. And that's probably the link that we're going to put in the show notes here. On Instagram, _Arno Koch. If you just Google Arno Koch, I found that I just plastered the first search page. So that's definitely easy. LinkedIn, Arno Koch, that works. We'll put that in the show notes as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm easy to find. There are not too many Arno Koches out there.
Well, either way, we highly encourage everybody, get in touch with the Arno Koch. Again, he's a wealth of knowledge. Arno, we want to thank you again for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here today, sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and insight to help those listening here and those that will be listening here later on demand. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, we are committed every week in bringing subject matter experts like Arno in each and every week. We highly encourage those. If you have any content ideas that you would like to see on the show, reach out to us here at Chris@ChristopherSalem.com. Also, for those people that are looking for, to finish your Q3 and Q4 strong and start planning for 2023, reach out to us also here at Chris Salem at Chris@ChristopherSalem.com. Whether if you are a business or individual, we'll be happy to look at it and make sure that they are specific, clear, and concise to help move you forward. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week. Have a great day.